Okay, let's go. Antonia Castañeda had utilized scholarship from the women to examine 19th portrayals of Mexican women. Okay, as she notes, had utilized scholarship. Right? She notes other scholars, male novelists of the time. So AC notes other scholars. What did the other scholars say? Male novelists of the period. Male scholars have a definition for women. So if I was to draw it out, this is what I'm drawing on my blank. So if I was to, can I draw it out? Yeah. AC notes from other scholars. So these are what the other scholars are saying. So I'm going to call this other scholars. Other scholars. What did the other scholars say? Scholars of women's history. Utilize scholarship from women's studies. I don't know. So okay. I think these can be male or female, these other scholars. We don't know. So these other scholars were saying the following thing about these other scholars were saying male novelists. So I'm just going to call this male. Had a traditional definition. You don't know if these are male or female, by the way. You don't know those. So that's what I have on my sheet at least. Okay. So this is what it looks like. Male or female, the male scholars, of that time, That's what I have on my sheet, okay? So anyways, the male scholars of that time, I wish I could get rid of all this, I suppose. It's clear. Clear drawing there. Okay, so the male scholars of that time. Male novelists define women solely in the, okay, so the male novelist definition, the male novelists have a definition for women. So they define women solely on this, even though the traditional role was being threatened, they still define. The male novelists at that time still define. Right? Whoa, non-Hispanic, we're being economic by industrialization. I'm not sure what that, I'm not sure what transition is this. So during the same period that saw, so there was some transition, but I guess some Californianas were being protected. I'm not sure what is the transition to the earlier to this air to this part. What is the transition from here? What's the relationship between this and what we read before? Not sure about that. Non-Hispanic women. So this is non-Hispanic women. By ensuring them property rights and inheritance rights equal to that of males. So there was transition going on. I'm not sure. Clear all this. Anyways, for Castaneda, the law explains the stereotypical plot by male non-Hispanic novelists. Okay, the story of an ambitious merchant desirous of marrying a Californiana. These not what these things concluded there. God. And unflattering depictions of Mexicans were vital in rallying their support for the Mexican-American War. The importance of forced marriages explains the apparent. So the historians were saying that women were vital in the Spain because of their life. They're not the same nationalities. The laws explain is I'm not sure what it means. What laws? By male Hispanic. What's this? I think it's a discrepancy between Mexican women of the territory. Not the legal status of Mexican women, and I think the economic position of Mexican women of that territory. Mexican American history. So I guess the non-Hispanic women were being. So I guess there were two kinds of women in Mexico, Hispanic and non-Hispanic. That's surprising to me. There were non-Hispanic women in Mexico, I guess. So the non-Hispanic women were really getting the short end of the stick, whereas I think the Hispanic women were not. In territorial California. Non-Hispanic. So actually, American women were getting screwed, but Mexican women were getting better treatment. Okay, so who are these talking about? The legal side of Mexican women in territorial California and their status. I think so, maybe, yeah. Oh, the unflattering depiction. Yeah, it has to be B. It's 1B. I think it's 1B. An example of a kind of disc. So a story of an ambitious, story of an American, I guess, desiring of, yeah. So if an American desires to marry a Californiana because they have married these women, because I guess they have a lot of wealth. Hispanic law and a land speculator. A land speculator of English and weds the daughter of a Mexican. Yeah, I think it's A, 2A, yeah. No way. No, this woman is not married already. No way. His father, whose father has bequeathed her all. No way. No, it can't be. It has to be. Which of the following provide the most support for yeah. So the most support. So the stereotypical plot is that I guess these Americans, and is that an American? I guess this is America. Yeah, so the war took place in 1846 to 1848. Whereas I think, yeah, this has got to be, it's been taken over. Uh-huh. This is marriages, yeah. Non-Hispanic traders. So American traders found business. Found business more profitable while it was a territory than when it became a state. I doubt it. No. Yeah, it has to be C. 3C. Well, that's irrelevant now. 3C. Most of the property. No, it can't be. That weakens it. 2 was 2A. The primary purpose, I think, was to talk about what AC's understanding was describe something that's going on at that time. Describe the situation that's going on at that time. And maybe discussed, yeah. Trace. No, I can't be explained. No. Maybe discuss the historical origin of a literary stereotype. Is it really to discuss this now? Oh, there's no evaluate going on. I guess I like the word discuss. Describe. I like that. Which might not. Yeah, I'm not sure. Research and history. Trace historical influences on the influences. Trace historical influences. Trace historical influences on the depiction of Mexican Americans. Is it really to trace on the depiction of trace historical influences on the depiction of Mexican Americans? Trace historical influences. Trace historical on the depiction of Mexican Americans. Trace influences on the depiction of Mexican. Can't be that. Explain how research in history has been affected. No. Of a literary stereotype. Describe. No, it can't be. Oh, it can't be. Minority writers. How are these minority writers? Do we know if male? Oh, it can't be that either. Trace back the influences. Trace historical influences on the depiction of it. I'm not sure about this. The influences on the depiction of Mexican Americans. Yeah, I guess this is the only one that sort of makes any sense. I would select for a. What is this saying? Go back and find out. Trace the influences on the depiction of Mexican. I think so because it's tracing the stereotypical plot. Yeah, it's talking about apparent contradiction, the influences on the depiction. Yeah, yeah, it has to be A for A. In my view, it's A. Explain how research and history has been affected. No way. How research has been affected? No way. No, that can't be. Do we know if these are minority writers? I doubt it. So I think it's 4A, but I'm not sure. Oh Lord. God. Thank you.